Hi there friends, it's Simone. I'm here to share my San Francisco Pen Show haul. I went to the San Francisco Pen Show from August 23rd to the 25th, and it's the Thursday after the show. I have all of the pens that I brought back with me inked, so I can show you some writing samples. I swatched all the inks, not all of them, one is missing, in my Cosmo Air Light notebook, and I just want to give you a quick overview of what I got, and so that you can see it in close-up. I filmed a experience face-to-face video yesterday that is available for my Ko-fi members, and it will be available a little bit later in the month for you all. But I thought show me what you got would be the most fun thing to look at and give you the best view. I thought I would compare the purchases to the lists that I made and shared in my prep video, so we can actually, check if I was able to do all the things that I wanted to do. Let's just go down the shopping list. So I put down Tachia Umemurasaki as the first item that I wanted to get. However, they did not even bring Umemurasaki. They told me that it is sold out at the moment, and so I was not able to bring that ink home. I did not purchase all of them. I brought home about 15 new bottles of ink, which, yes, I know what I said in my other ink bottle videos, that I'm not planning on getting any more ink bottles. We'll see how that works out. And so I'm not thinking of purchasing this one right away from an online retailer. I also knew that I wanted to get the cleaning tools from Schoen Design. I was successful in getting those. They were $10 each, and I purchased the Pilot, Lamy, Platinum, and Sailor cleaners. I already have the Jovo one at home, right here next to me in my desk, and so I'm really excited that cleaning my pens will be much easier now that I have these. I think those $40 were really well invested. They're not expensive considering the use that I will be getting out of them. So I was really happy to just support. I also wanted to check out Inky Converters and see what they had in their shop. For some reason, I always forget about their online shop when I'm shopping for stationery, and so I thought it would be a fun thing to actually seek them out and buy stuff. I thought maybe I could do and get a collection of things and do a pen show giveaway. So I bought 2 rolls of the same thing, ink emojis. So one of the person who is winning the giveaway will get one of those rolls. And then I also bought this mood bottle. This is, remember the mood rings from when we were kids, when I was a kid? Maybe you weren't even born yet, but they were so much fun. And I think this is the coolest thing. So I needed to get one of those mood bottles. This one is staying with me. One of those is going to be given away. I purchased, the rest on this list was mostly stuff that I was mulling for friends. I stood in line for almost an hour to get these, and I really like them. I wish there was a traveler's notebook insert made with this, because I love the concept. I just don't really use any ring planners to be able to actually use this. So these are letterpress inserts, and the lines, I hope you can see them, are pressed into the paper using a letterpress print. So they don't ink the press, and that's how these faint lines come in. And I hope that my friend Brandy will love these. Well, she has to love them. I was standing in line for an hour, so there's no other way out. I wanted to purchase a stamp set, or actually I think 2 stamp sets for my friend Claudia. However, the 2 that she picked, Christine Heron did not bring to the show. The selection that she brought to the show was more geared toward fountain pen and swatching, and the stamp set that Claudia picked just weren't that. And so while I was at their table though, I went ahead and purchased the San Francisco Pen Show stamp set, and I'm really happy I have it. I did not buy one last year. I really love the selection of these inks. It's a small stamp set. It's not overwhelming. You should see my clear stamp set collection. I have at least 60 sets, maybe, possibly. And so adding smaller sets isn't as mind-boggling to me as adding a big one. But I actually also added a big one that I'll show you later. Maybe I can show you that one right now. This is Nibs in Ink from the Well-Appointed Desk. They were sold at the Van Ness table, and man, I was circling that table, and I would have loved to purchase things, but none of those things that I eyed were stuff that I really necessarily needed. And so I decided, you know what, Van Ness is like the speediest fountain pen retailer that I have experienced. And so when I feel like I need to support Van Ness, I can just go on their site and browse their online shop. They have a huge selection of stuff that I'm always up for. So many samples all the time. So yeah, I did have a discount code. I don't know if it still works. I need to reach out to Lisa and ask if we can renew it. But yeah, even without a discount code, I think they have an amazing selection, fair prices, and so yep, got this at their table. Then I also muled a sailor for my friend, well, acquaintance Friedrich from Manda's Discord server. This is the Lion Friends, the bear in extra fine. That was the only nib size they still had when I was at the table. And by Sunday, they were actually sold out because another friend had reached out to me and asked if I could get one of those pens for her, but I wasn't able to do that. So then one of the things that I really wanted to try was the Pelikan M1000, and I was able to try not one, but actually 2. The one that was at the Pelikan table is this one, and I absolutely understand that you don't want to ruin more than one pen for a tester pen, but if the nib has been basically mishandled and mangled so much that it doesn't reflect the writing experience anymore, I think it's time to change the tester pen, because that is exactly what happened at the Pelikan table. This is the pen in fine that I was able to test, and the dude behind the table was like, this is not the writing experience that we would have with an M1000 because it's not true to the actual nib size. So now I wasn't much smarter than that. My friend Kristen, however, came to the rescue and let me test her M1000, and she had that ground to a fine cursive smooth italic by Mike Masuyama. And ooh, it wrote nicely, but I don't think an Pelikan M1000 is a pen that I need to have in my collection, especially after the pen that I purchased. You will see that later on. I don't think that I need a Pelikan M1000 to get that writing experience. I also learned that maybe I will like fine cursive or cursive smooth italic nibs. I had one ground to an oblique last year at the San Francisco Pen Show, and I was not happy with it. And I think the reason why that was because it was ground to an oblique. You know, you learn with the experiences that you make. All right, what else? I wanted to try Pilot Vanishing Point Fine and Extra Fine Nibs. I was actually able to, so this body, you already know, I have owned this for about 4 years now. But someone commented on my San Francisco Pen Show video from 2 weeks ago that they had an extra fine nib unit that they would love to give to me. And so we seeked each other out, and she gifted this to me. I unfortunately lost my notebook when I tested all of those pens, but I felt like it was a tiny bit too scratchy, and that's the reason why she gifted it to me. But what I did was have it tuned at my nib appointment with Kirk Spear on Sunday. So this is the Pilot Vanishing Point in extra fine. This is an 18 karat gold nib, and yeah, I totally love how this writes. Yep, you might think, what is wrong with this person? I really don't know. I am currently trending towards fine nibs all along. Like some of the medium nibs that I got, I currently wish maybe they would be a little bit finer, because I am trending towards the finer nibs. The ink that is in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Sioro. Wow. But it is pointy, and this mat is cork. And so maybe I need a different, you know, something underneath that is a little bit harder, because this is not going to work. Let me grab something. That was quick. I found my pencil board from Hobonichi, and I'm going to use this as a hard layer underneath. So I don't think I tested the Pilot Vanishing Point. My tip for my friends that went to the show was to write down what you're testing and how you feel about it. But as you can clearly see, I did not follow my own advice. So I don't even really know if I have tested the the fine Pilot nib. I don't see it. We can go through this later a little bit and see. Yeah. I've talked about my experience and how I try to stay in the moment in my experience video, so I'm not going to go into that detail, but yeah, that just wasn't in the cards for me to be as organized and as neat about my samples as maybe other people were, and or to be so mindful. I preferred to just be in the moment and talk to the people that were on the other side of the table than to be nitpicky about how I would fill in my notebook. So I guess I did not. Let's just check off the things that I actually did. So I did this. I tried or was gifted one gift. The reason why I wanted to try the extra fine nib and the sailor fine and extra fine was to find a pen that I could use as a planner pen. And so once I'm done filming this video, I will actually unink all of those pens and fill them all with platinum carbon black and compare those a little bit more. If that's a video that you're interested in, please comment down below and I'll try to make it happen. So then I wanted to try Sailor F and extra fine nibs, again with the thought of maybe buying one of those as a planner pen. And I tried the fine, which was this one. And then this was the extra fine. So I really loved the Sailor Fine tester. However, mine wasn't like that. I purchased Sally because look at the colors. These are just so me. Oh, I did not know. I didn't see. Can you see the sparkle in the section? It's even better than I thought it would be. And then here is Sally's engraved nib. This is my Sailor Fine. However, this is not how it wrote right out of the box. I was able to sign up for Matthew Chen, who is Pactagon, for a nib grinding appointment. He was able to grind 2 nibs or work on 2 nibs for me, which was making this one wetter and grinding another pen. So this is my Sailor Fine. I think there is still quite a bit difference, but I really liked how this wrote. So I guess I'm going to show you what this looks like. So this is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim Line Friends Sally in fine. This is a 14 karat gold nib. I really like how it writes now after it is smoothed. It is not the driest, but also not super wet. For me, in my experience, platinum carbon black is quite wet. So I'm curious to see how different the experience is. This is Pannonia Amarillo Stationery Rosa Mexicano. This is definitely much pinker than I thought it would be. I thought it would be more magenta, purple leaning, darker. This is what the ink looks like on Cosmo Air Light paper. I really want to film a proper ink swatching video in my Tomoe River notebook, just to especially and just to see how different the inks perform on the different papers. So I purchased that. I purchased that during when I also purchased the Line Friends pen for the muling assignment. But also I was able to do this But also my friend Nadia was able to loan me this hard extra fine. I unfortunately don't know the name of the pen. It is a Pro Gear, so it's a different nib than the Line Friends. They're different sizes. This one is bigger than this one. The whole pen is different, but the nib size is different, and so the writing experience, or at least I personally notice a difference in the writing experience with these pens. Now the question is, what ink? Oh yeah, did I put in here? So I was also able to do this loaned. So I did not go by this list, but when in preparation for this video, I looked through this and I was actually able to do more of this list than I initially thought I would be able, that I did. So this is the Sailor Pro Gear. Pink. Maybe it's Pink Champagne. Let's just call it Pink Champagne because I like the name of this. With an extra fine nib. And this one is 21 karat. The ink that I put in here is an ink that I loved in the beginning of this year, which was Diamine Ink Vent. The purple ink vent, Diamine Walnut. So I saw this at the Drumgool's booth when they did the 4 inks for a 3. And so I grabbed it because I knew that I liked it, Diamine. And this writing experience now on the Tomoe River paper, this is Tomoe River Sanzen paper, is really lovely. Here's a swatch of Diamine Walnut. Wow. I hope you can see this. But it's not a good color match for this ink on camera. I wasn't sure if I would like this, but I actually really like it. So, Nadia, did you loan this to me because you want to sell it? I'm still trying to figure out if it's a pen for me, but if you're willing to sell it, let me know what the price is that you have in mind. Then I wanted to check out hand-turned pens, and I did. I looked at so many, so that was a check for me. I learned a lot about my own preferences. I knew going in after sharing that hand-turned pen video a couple weeks ago. I'm always saying a couple weeks ago, but not that long ago, where I compared 4 different hand-turned pens, that I might be a very picky person when it comes to what the blank looks like, how the polishing is, what the threads look like, the thickness of the cap material, all of that. I knew going in that I was picky, and coming out of the show, I definitely learned that that is true, that there are not that many makers that live up to my expectations. But, you know, my expectations are extremely high, and I don't think there is anything wrong with having high expectations, but there's also nothing wrong with other people having lower expectations. That is just personal preference, and I'm glad I was able to, you know, inspect all those pens, take a closer look at all of those pens, hold them to know how big the grip section was. I really fell in love just before the pen show. Let me just share an example with a pen by Maverick Pens. They are not new to making hand-turned pens, but newer compared to other pen makers. And I loved the pen. It looks stunning. I was able to actually see and hold it in person. However, the grip section was just a tad bit too tiny, and I knew that I was going to have a problem with it long term. So I did not buy it, even though it looked amazing. I was sad, but I made that, the responsible decision to not purchase it. If you're not as picky about grip sections, that probably, if I wasn't as picky about grip section, that would have been a pen that I would have come home with. Now, I did actually only buy one hand-turned pen. Maybe because I knew that, oh, no, that's a fleck. So, one of the pens that I really wanted to look at in person, because I could not fathom how this would feel in my hand, was a Mayfair Pens. And I just want to have you look at this. It is a stunning blank. Two stunning blanks, actually. This is from Enigma Stationery. They have different colors of these, and now that I've been able to look at these holographic, translucent acrylics or resins, I would personally think, or in my opinion, the Enigma Stationery blanks are the best. For that, I have not seen any other Enigma Stationery blanks, but this specific way of pouring resin and making it translucent, having these holographic flecks in there, they do a really great job at that. And they also have a Enigma Stationery exclusive pen, same model, that if I had seen it prior to this one, I might have probably bought that instead. I'm not unhappy about this, but I think, I can always come back and buy another one too. The reason why I wanted to check those out is because Gourmet Pens podcast, Candace and Aziza always talk about Ben's. I still didn't look up his name. I think his name is Ben from Mayfair Pens. And what amazing pens he makes, how quickly they sell out. And so I just wanted to check them out. And I went over to his table, grabbed the pen, and was like, this actually feels really good in my hand. And I like your work. So how much is this? And so I purchased it right on the spot. I did not ever circle around and come back. So it was either I already knew that I wanted this pen, or I just walked away and didn't come back later, because maybe that's how I am. Didn't think I was that kind of person, but I seem to be. So this is the Mayfair Pens Vanyar. And the resins are, so I don't think that these have any names. The resin that is in here is Enigma Stationery. And then the outer, woohoo! I could do this, amazing. The outer two blanks here, the depth of this one is awesome. And I love the swirls. Yes, I know I'm not a swirly person. They have to be done really well. See, that's another thing. I might like the way that you make your pens, but maybe you're just not using the resins that speak to me either. So purchasing hand-turned pens is definitely an endeavor in itself. This is from Turned Pen Co. Moonlit Waters, which is also, Turned Pen Co. also made my really loud, sparkly Sebastian model. Resin, here, this one. So there are two blank makers that get me more than others, which is one is like, you know, the mainstream ones that everybody likes, Carolina Pen Co., as well as Torrent Pen Company. So this one is awesome too. And I got this in a medium nib. I have a few nibs, specialty nib grinds and just regular medium, fine, extra fine, and broad for these pens that I can just swap them out easily. So I did not really have any particular, you know, just give me what is on here. The ink that is in here is the show ink. This nib is actually writes really nicely. This is Colorverse San Francisco Bay. I had thought from the color on the bottle that it would be much darker. This is the color on the bottle. This is what it looks like in writing on Sanzen Tomoe River paper. And this is what it looks on as a swatch on my Cosmo Airlight paper. Yeah, I love it. This is the only maker pen that I actually purchased. I also have here SD Teal and Brown. I really liked the color of the SD Back to the Land Funky Lake. And when I looked at, I needed to look at it in person because I feel like the turquoise and teal colors always come across differently on camera. So I never knew what I wanted, if this was the perfect color. But when I saw it, man, so I'm repeating myself. I'm telling everyone, if I had to choose and be a color, this would be me. This is the exact shade of, the exact mixture shade of teal that I love. So if you know of an ink that looks exactly like this, I would love to know. Maybe the one that is included in the as a sample in the box is the same color. That would be so awesome. Let me show you. The other pens did not have anything special, but I think you saw a lot of unboxings. There's a pen loop here, but the Funky Lake also has an ink sample included. So why don't we just, do I have anything here that I could use? Well, why don't I use one of my new things here? And then this is how I did my swatches while I was away when I didn't have any supplies with me. So I would just use the syringe. I would put a tiny drop on there. And then I would just plop the drop down. Okay, this goes over here. And then I would screw on this. This is how my Vanyar, this is the packaging for this pen. And so I just put these syringes and cleaning tools in there to be able to keep them safe and not lose them. And so I would just use the top of this and swirl it around. Nope, not. I mean, the ink color looks lovely. And it's already hard to say that I'm not going to buy any ink bottles because this one could need to make its way into my stash. But yeah, I had Matthew Chen put a beak point after trying. I love having the opportunity to try pens from friends. And especially having friends that are so exploratory with nib grinds. where is it? This is the pen that I tested from my friend Kristen. Again, all of these are Kristen's pens. And so I really liked that as a fun pen to use for letter writing. So I had Matthew Chen put one here on the quirky, funky lake. So this ink color is Esterbrook. Funky Lake. And then this is the Esterbrook Esty in Funky Lake with a beak. I purchased it as a fine nib, but now it's a beak point. And this is by Matthew Chen. So this is the regular side. And what he basically said, or what other people told me, is that the beak point is basically a fude nib, but a reverse fude, basically. So this is what this looks like. Doesn't it? Can't you imagine using this for letter writing on this side? I'm not sure that this, using it on the actual side, would be something that I would do. I would ink this up and with the intention of using it on the regular side instead of the reverse, because it feels really stiff and it also feels very you know, how do I best describe this? It feels like the tines misalign easily, they spring easily, and so you have to be really mindful when holding this pen and writing with it. And the ink that is in here is Brandy. Why did I write it like that? Because I'm talking. From Diamine. This was one of the Inkvent inks in 2021. And I ordered this when my friend Maria placed an order at Cult Pens, and I purchased these two. Well, I wanted to purchase them, but then she ended up gifting those to me, which I'm super grateful for. And the swatches of those two inks, I have swatched this prior. This is Brandy Snap, and this is Wagner. I really like this. I'm glad I bought this, even though I think I have more of those olivey greens. I can't wait to see how it performs in a pen. I haven't put it in a pen yet. I got too many ink bottles for the pens that I brought back home with me. So, beak point, awesome, lovely. So I did that. Then I also was able to snag not just the San Francisco Bay, the Colorverse, the pen show ink for the San Francisco Pen Show, but I was also able to purchase the 2024 Pen Show exclusive ink from Sailor. And that ink looks like this. I had thought that it would look a little bit more leaning olive instead of this dull green, but that could also be the paper that it's on. So yeah, that's why I'm really looking forward to swatching all of those inks on Tomoe River paper as well. I also put that ink into a pen, and this is my Platinum 3776, which we're now at the nib stuff. So maybe I'll show that to you in just a second. So I got those two Colorverse inks, check, not Colorverse, Pen Show inks. Then I went and checked out the Line Friends Pro Gear Slim. Showed it to you already here. And I was actually gifted this beautiful pen by my friend Kristen again. And the interesting thing is that it also has some hollow flecks. So that might be a thing that is something that I'm really liking in poured resins that are then turned into handmade pens. This is a Franklin Christoph P20. She gifted it to me, and I don't know what I'm thinking about it just yet. It has a SIG extra fine nib, and I inked it 2 days ago. I wrote with it yesterday, but let's see if it actually writes. So this is the Franklin see what is happening here. I'm not so sure what exactly is happening. I put in a regular cartridge. This is an ink that is supposed to have, what is it called? ITF, which is some kind of ITF technology. What does it say? Latest leading European ink treatment formula. Enjoy peak performance with ITF, which drastically improves ink flow quality, extends cap off time, and lubricates and protects the ink feeding system from corrosion and clogging. This was a free ink that I was able to snag up from Monteverde. They promoted an Instagram post. You would get a free ink if you mentioned it. And so that's what I did. Picked this one up. I really like the color. I'll show you the swatch on Cosmo Air Light. It seems to look a little bit different and more blue leaning. Maybe that's why it's called Chameleon besides. So let's see if this works. It might be where I live. I live in a fairly dry, no, not. So what I do when pens dry out on me, I need to put down my foot, it's falling asleep, is I just use a water brush and go right here and here to get the ink flowing again. So let's see if this is working. So this might be a problematic pen for my location. I'm not going to give up on it just now. I want to test this a little bit longer and see. But if you have followed Christoph, my Franklin Christoph journey, this is a P20. P is pocket. It is a lovely pocket size. It doesn't have threads. It just pops on. It doesn't do, maybe, so I said this on my other video as well. If you have a P20, let me uncap it again. Tell me if this is the way that it's supposed to feel and sound like. Well, yeah, it feels secure. It doesn't come off by itself. And even though this nib looks so tiny, this is actually a number 6 nib. It screws really deep into the housing. P20 with an extra fine SIG nib. SIG stands for smooth italic gradient. So what I would think this would B is a smooth cursive italic, maybe, possibly. The ink that's in here, as I said prior, is Colorverse, not Colorverse, what the heck. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the cartridge that I'm using is not in there properly. I don't know. It's also, so I had trouble with my Benu Euphoria. No, not Euphoria. Benu Ambrosia that also only takes cartridges. Maybe cartridges are not the thing for me. I don't know. This way, and then X. And this is Monteverde Chameleon. Now it works. So maybe it just needs some, you know, getting to flow time. We'll see. I will figure it out. Let's look at this resin again. It's pink and gray. It's very light pink and gray, and then has these holographic specks on there. I did try the Nagahara cursive because a friend of mine suggested that I should try that again. Because I'm so hesitant to get cursive smooth italic nibs because I'm afraid that I won't like them. But the ones that I tried at the show, I liked more than I thought I would. And so maybe, as I said prior, this was just an oblique problem and not a cursive smooth italic problem. Okay, let's look through this book. Are we going to look through the book and then talk about the other things that I got? I showed the new pens, but there's one new pen that I just randomly purchased. And I walked by the Leonardo table and I talked in my video that I really like the primary manipulation. And if I came across a primary manipulation, and I think this is called Primary Manipulation Light, pen that I liked, I might get it. So I walked by and I saw these pens and I went and grabbed this one because this just spoke to me. And it had a humongous nib on it, which was also quite intriguing. And so I asked if I could try the nib, which was, you needed to be heat set first because this is actually an ebonite feed. Now that I know what to expect with ebonite feeds, I might be a little bit more chill. Yeah, and it's a titanium nib. So, wow. I tried this and I instantly fell in love with it. This is so wet. So this is the Leonardo. Can you see how the ink sits on the paper? This is how wet it is. Leonardo Momento Grande. It has a medium titanium nib. And I said it earlier, I wish my medium nibs were even a little bit finer. I don't think in the long run that I will regret getting a medium nib on this. I have quite a few higher priced pens that have a fine nib on them, like my Pelikan M800. And so I think this will be a really great balance with nib sizes. But wow, this pen is so wet, so wet. I inked it with an ink that I picked up from the D-Stash. This is Kobe Shin number 22 Shinkaichi Gold. My friend Kristen. So if I'm mentioning Kristen, it's just because we hung out quite a bit at the show all the time, and I just love, like, if you don't watch her videos, you should. Her videos are like worlds better than mine. She is so much better at expressing what she thinks about pens than I am. and I'm often feeling very impostery after watching her videos, but that's a me problem. That shouldn't keep you from watching her videos. This is Kobe number 22 Shinkaichi Gold. And if you're watching this video, Kristen, what ink did you want to match this? I know that you said that you were going to destash this on one of your videos, if I'm not mistaken. And you said because you found another ink that was better in that color spectrum. I actually really like this color. It reminds me, I can actually look it up now. It reminds me of one of those inks from Krishna that I received when I was able to try one of the boxes from Inkdraw, Cassia Flora. I don't know. What do you think? Is this similar? It's, yeah, not as close as I had thought it was, but it definitely, I can see why I'm thinking about this. So here is the actual swatch for this. This, I believe, has a little bit more neon green shades, but when I'm writing with it, I can see the resemblance. It definitely looks like baby poop, and I seem to have a thing for baby poop. So this also, by the way, is the Monteverde Chameleon ink, and I just, wow, focus my little lovely camera. I just really like it. Now that looking at my screen, it seems like they all look kind of black, but it is a lovely burgundy color, purple leaning with some green sheen, and it's cool. So yes, this was the most unexpected purchase ever. I don't really care for the short clip. It always looks like a dude that has doesn't know how to tie his tie properly. But after writing with this nib, I knew that I wanted this pen. And I really, I love it. So I brought home, how many pens did I bring home from the San Francisco Pen Show last year? Is there I have an unboxing here. I can't seem to film. This is what I got. This is what happened and done. So I purchased a Franklin Christoph. I purchased the Gravitas Pocket, and I purchased the Schoen Design Ultim full-size fountain pen with a monarch nib. Of the pens that I was able to get, this was tuned and smoothed by Kirk-Spear. I sold this pen. This was tuned and smoothed by Kirk-Spear. I sold this pen. I sold the Franklin Christoph Model 2. I kept the nib, but I sold the pen. I sold the Gravitas Pocket White. I sold the CSI nib with a left oblique, as I mentioned. So I don't have, the only thing that I brought home from the San Francisco Pen Show 2023 that are still in my possession is the Reverse Architect pen that was tuned by Kirk-Spear. He made that nib, but it was scratchy on the fine side, and now it's super smooth and works really well for me. I still have the Monarch nib. I still have the SIG medium nib, and I purchased the Sailor King of Pens in broad. That's all that is left. That shows you that I'm not necessarily keeping the pens that I'm bringing home from the Pen Show for a lifetime. And I'm really curious to see how these pens will fare until I don't know when I know that they are for me or not for me. Of course, every pen that I'm buying, I think this is it. But especially at a pen show, I seem to make very rash decisions. I seem to be very sure about what I want and what I don't want. But of course, I never have the long-term writing experience with these pens. And so that is something that they need to prove that they will just work where I am. So far, this is working really well. It's just, I currently cannot see myself not keeping this in my collection, but you never know what's going to happen further down the line. Right now, I'm very happy that they are all in my possession. So what else? So I was able to actually check off all the things from my list. I did not buy a new Franklin Christoph pen. They have changed their table layout. So in prior years, the 2 years that I went in 2022 and 2023, they put out a ton of pens. And even though I'm easily overwhelmed by a ton of stuff, I really loved that there were so many different pens on that table. And both times when I went there, one stood out to me and I grabbed it and I felt like this needs to come home with me. Now, maybe for the majority of people going to the show, they have changed it to have smaller pen trays of pens out. And there's only 5 or 6 pens. And that did not grab me at all. I walked by, I'd never felt the draw to go and check out all of the pens, look at them all, see if one speaks to me more than the other. No. For some reason, that did not work for me. Weird, right? Nib stuff. So I already talked about some of the nibs that were ground for me. So I received this extra fine nib section and it was tuned and smoothed by Kirk Spear. I purchased this Sally Pro Gear Slim right here. It was dry. The nibs were great. The tines weren't misaligned or anything, and that's how I felt about it, and gave to Matthew Chen, and he said, yes, the nib is actually really fine. Like, it works well. There's no misalignment. There's no scratchiness. You can use it like that. And I said, yes, but I want it to write wetter. So he put some shims in between and made it wetter for me. And I think it was successful. We'll see down the line how it performs. And then he also made this beautiful nib grind for me. It was really fun watching him make it. Just for the experience of that alone, it was worth getting this nib ground. Then I brought these two. So that's the things that I wanted to get done. I wanted the Platinum 3776 in broad, turned into the sibling of this one. So I wanted it to be a reverse architect. However, I asked him if he could make it a smooth reverse architect. I don't know what the correct term for this is, but this is now, so this is my Platinum 76 in black with a reverse architect nib. I love how this writes now. It's a little bit easier to find the right writing angle with the smoothness. This is a 14 karat gold nib, by the way, and it has a fine reverse side. I did not necessarily specify how I wanted the front to be, but I'm really glad that it is not as fine. I can't really compare this to this one. So this is the Twisby. This is a little bit broader, as you can see, mini. And wow. So I'm really curious to see how this performs with platinum carbon black, because I think that it definitely makes things wetter. This is the Sailor Show ink. And it's a very moody green here. So, and then I got my Platinum 3776 Extra Fine ground into a monoline nib. Now, I should have asked him if a smoothing and tuning would do the same for me, but now that I'm writing with it a little bit more, so this is burgundy, and it's an extra fine into a monoline. I think it's really easy to hold it at any angle and make it write the same. Not just the same, but also, like, if I turn it like this, let's try. Yeah, it writes. If I turn it like this, it writes. So it doesn't really matter. You can actually use it this way. You can, yeah, it's a little bit scratchy if I hold it even more than 90 degrees, but it writes all the time in a line width that is very close to the line width that it's supposed to be. It's a little bit broader than the extra fine was, but that is actually exactly how I like it. And I inked that with Sailor Shikiori Okuyama, and you can clearly see that the paper makes a difference. It's more pink red on here, and it's more winey colored on Sanzen. If we're talking about should I have gotten 4 inks for the price of 3 at the Dromgool's table? Probably not, because I was actually really searching for ink colors that I would like. Yup. I'll show them to you in just a second. So this is Sailor, but I'm really glad I picked this one up. And oh, cool. I'm making the same mistake again. Yama. I just really like this. I can't wait to ink this up with Platinum Carbon Black and see how it performs. I really love that I got these 2 nib grinds on the Platinum 3776s. I just sold my Shape of Heart before the pen show because in reality, I don't gravitate towards these pens to use them with colored inks. I love them for the fact that they have the inner cap, that they stay wet, they don't dry out, and they are the perfect pen to use Platinum Carbon Black in them and keep them as, you know, functional pens with me. So I actually plan on inking both of them up with Platinum Carbon Black as well. So this is my Platinum Carbon Black Fleet that I will be trying out probably over the month of September, and use them in my planners, use them in my creative writing, not creative journal, not creative writing. I don't do creative writing. You should know that by the words that I'm using on these videos. But for my creative journal, where I love to use stark black ink, and very, very fine lines, I want to see how these work long term. Do they dry out? Do they have hard starts? How do I feel about writing with them small? Let me show you what that looks like when I use black ink in my creative journal. Here. So I would find a pen so this one is definitely going to be inked with black, but I also want to use my Hobonichi Weeks. And I've been using black ink in here as well. And so I just want to see how these pens write in both of those journals, in both of those use cases, to figure out which ones are the ones that are being kept inked. Maybe I'll keep more than just one because, you know, switching things up is also something that is really exciting. And so having more options than just one is a good thing. And then the ones that don't seem to be the ultimate planner pen, I will then use with colored inks in my letter writing and regular long form journal to see if I enjoy writing with them with color, or if I just need to pass them along to someone else. I wanted to get the Waterman Karen Deluxe with the silver cap made smoother as well. I had undergone some experiments with this pen and found that my first impression about it not being wet enough wasn't true. And so as I had used both Waterman Karens for a little bit, I realized that I really, really enjoyed the silver trimmed regular royal blue more than that beautiful Waterman Karen Deluxe, and so I sold that pen as well. I went really hard on selling pens the week before the pen show, just so that I could shop with a little bit more freedom instead of thinking of all the pens that I had, you know, at home that I didn't use. And I don't feel regret just yet. I put down the schedule. I saw that on Karina's video and I was like, oh, there is smart. So I put down the schedule for things that I really wanted to do. I also put down people I wanted to meet. So I swapped inks with Karina. I was able to get Pannonia, Amarillo Stationery, Rosa Mexicana. I was pining after that ink for quite a while. I showed you the swatch already, but I'm showing it to you again. I gave her my bottle of Ferris Wheel Press buttered popcorn. I met up with Galen from Fountain Pendulum, and she gave me a vial holder and pen tray early in 2023 when she just had started out making these. And if you watch my experience video, these are repetitions. Wow, her craftsmanship has tremendously improved from that time, and I just love the attention to detail that she and her husband Doug put into, I hope it's Doug, I think it's Doug, Galen, if you watch this, let me know. The amount of care that they put into these items is just so great. These magnets are flush. They feel so silky smooth. It was really fun because, so I brought back the one that she gave me early 2023 and exchanged it for the newer version of this. And so I was able to pick from all of those colors that she offers. And she asked me which one I would like. And I said, this one. And she said, I thought this was going to be the one that you picked. And I love that we know each other so well through YouTube. That is just so fascinating to me. So I gave her an ink and sold a pen to her. And then she had, when she sent this previous version to me, she included an ink sample of Krishna Chennai, and it turned out to be my favorite ink of 2023. So she said she would bring it to the pen show, and I would be able to get a full bottle of this ink. I'm so excited. I love how we take care of each other. So these sit really nicely and deeply in here. Pens. Oh, look at what this looks. Oh, let's just put this here and admire it for a little bit. Oh my God, I love it. So I met Galen. I met up with Rachel. I didn't know her name, so I put Instarax. She was going to sell a Zodiac Pen Company primary manipulation pen to me if I wanted it. It looked lovely, and I was able to check out Zodiac Pen Co.'s craftsmanship. I loved the model that she showed me. I need to figure out what that was. And I might get a pen from Bart because his polishing is awesome. The threads are perfect. They reminded me a lot of the magic that James from Bone Crusher 7 Studio does with his tapered threads on the grip section. So yeah, not River City, Zodiac Pen Company, and another one of those because this is almost sold. I will add to my collection at some point, but right now I don't feel like I need to add more. I really want to get to know all of the things that I brought home with me. I met Pamela, the old lady, because she had another set of samples for me. I love that. So she brought those to me and some other things. I'm gonna see what all of that is. But yeah, so she made little bags for friends. I think Karina also brought one home with her. Can't wait to try all of those and see. So I made sure that I met her. She also brought a friend who was able to let me try a Santini pen. I also was able to try Kristen's Santini pen, and I liked it, but I didn't fall in love with it. So maybe it's a maybe. I talked to you about the extra fine nib section for the Pilot Vanishing Point. Now I really want to buy the matte Vanishing Point. But, friends, I have a section. I have a pen right here. I don't need to buy a matte Vanishing Point just to test out a nib unit. All right, what else is here? So this was when he was grinding these pens. I was testing them to see what they felt like. Here is the Kobe number 22. When I was waiting at the plotter line for an hour, someone had the Enso Bolt action pen, and that retractable fountain pen is amazing. So if you are looking for an alternative to the Vanishing Point because you don't like this, if you haven't, I shortly tested the Navalure clicky pen. I have never actually held a Platinum Corridas, but they all look really chunky. If you need a slim pen for your planner, I think this might be one of the best solutions out there. It's affordable, it's a steel nib, it was really wet. There is a clip that you can add. It has a slim profile. I don't think it's usable for a long writing session unless you enjoy these steely, like the bolt action pens. If that's something that you love, then this might even be for a longer writing session. But for a planner, this might be my number one tip to use. So I tried a Visconti Homo sapiens, and it wasn't a life-changing experience, but it was a really nice writing experience. And there's so many people who love the Bronze Age. I was able to try 2 Dark Age Visconti Homo sapienses, and I actually like them even more, like from the look. So this might be a pen that could be in my future, distant future at some point. I tried all of the grinds from Nib Kirk's-Beer. That was something that I don't think I will do again. When I was at the Leonardo booth, there was Ned Lansing. I don't know if you know him. He had a custom Magico made from Leonardo with a Bob Dupress resin and put an Omas Paragon nib into the pen. And it wrote amazingly well. I did not look at any vintage pens at all. I was thinking about maybe looking at an Omas, but that definitely went out the window after I liked, but not totally loved, my Scribo feel. And the nibs of the Omas nibs and the Scribo nibs are the shape. I can't talk to the actual writing experience, but the shape of the nib is exactly the same. And so I decided to focus on other writing experiences. And I tested the Magna Carta M600. And I was extremely surprised I was able to write this nicely with a flex nib fountain pen, because previous experiences weren't as great. So that was a surprise. And I really waffled for quite a long time, Friday and Saturday, if I should go and get one. Ultimately, I decided against it because I didn't want to allocate that much money to a pen that I wasn't sure I was going to use a lot. Maybe when I try it next year at the pen show, if Magna Carta is coming again, that might be different. It was awesome. It was an awesome writing experience. I know that quite a few of my friends purchased one, and I think that was a smart move. I can't wait to see how they use those pens, their experience over the next year, and maybe I'll go ahead and get one next year. I really loved the stacked resin, but that was also so expensive. I mean, it felt like the quality for the price and the nib that is so amazing are justified, but I just couldn't justify it for myself at that time. I tried the mini stub Esterbrook. I did not get one. I thought it was too stiff, but wasn't as scratchy as I thought it would be. That was an interesting experience. So maybe I need to put this extra fine sig nib on a different pen body where I know it will be kept dry. Not dry. Well, yes, where it will be kept pristine, like maybe put it in an Esterbrook and see how I feel about that, and then put a medium nib or something into this pen to see how it writes. If the nib is bigger, maybe it doesn't dry out as quickly. I stamped some stamps. You saw a White Bear pen stamp. I loved that they had these stamps. I should have brought some extra paper to stamp it on that so I can cut it out. This was 4 legs. I loved how this turned out. This is Inky Converters. This is the Tokubetsu Memory. Then there were more pens that I tried, and that's that. So what did I not talk about? So I talked about this pen, 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 the extra fine vanishing point, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yay! So that's that. Other stuff that I picked up. 2 of these. This is mine. This is for the giveaway. I saw this and I was like, totally have to have this. This looks so the Nokia phone. Maybe you remember that one. I had one of those because I need something that looks like a fly. And then I got this one for the giveaway. I bought some washi tape from Peon. I'm really loving these washi tapes that have, let me show you what I'm talking about. Where there is more than one design, possibly, hopefully, mostly, then also already fuzzy cut. Oops. So just gonna stick this right here. I just love these. So this is also so easy to just cut a strip apart and give it to a friend. And then where is this is the first one, so I'm still not there, and now it starts again, I believe. Nope, here. So this is the very last. I love these clouds, these birds, all of those flowers. I love to decorate my plain old Sanzen Tomori River paper that I use for letter writing with these strips, and then add some other. I have these. Where is my stuff? Not here. I have those ladies. I showed those, and I fuzzy cut them and stick them on top. So that's just a lot of fun. And this one is called Meet You by Peon. So I got that one at the Tokubetsu memory table for 20 bucks. And then I also got this beautiful washi tape. This is a regular washi tape. And this is some lovely line art right here. I always fall for these. Sometimes I feel like I should just draw them myself, but then I never know what to draw. I mean, I'm not saying that I can do this, but it would look differently wonky. And I really like that. So I'm just gonna roll it back up. And so that's I believe that's the only stationery that I personally purchased, with plus the Inky Converters one. Yeah, then the inks. So is there anything else that I bought? No. This, even though it doesn't look like much, was plus the workshop, the entry fee. What else did I put on here? So I think I made a list. So I paid, this is wrong, I paid $200 for the Mayfair Pens, $440 for the Leonardo. The Sailor stuff came to $69.15. Because I got a little bit extra for the muling, $35, so this roll was $15. At Tokubetsu Memory for the 2 washi. Shown Design, I spent $40. Esterbrook, $175.50. The Show Ink was $20. I spent $10 at Kirk Spears table plus $120. I spent $65 for the 3-day pass. I spent $190 for the nib tuning and grinding classes. I spent $15 at Everyday Explorers. I spent $20 for the stamp set at Vanessa. I spent drum ghouls. I spent $63 for the ink. What else? I bought these. I don't remember how much that was, but that wasn't much. And then I bought this. I think I was at like 28. Inky Converters was 28. And then I need to put Inkapet. I think that's it. Oh, I forgot to show you something. Where is it? Right here on my chair. I also, so this was the most, I did not expect to purchase this. I bought the A5 full, what is it? Field bag, I think it's called. It has 2 inner pockets and a big inner pocket, an outer pocket right here. And that was $69. But this is going to be my everyday carry bag. So Inkapet, Rickshaw, $69. I think that is all that I spent. Oh, I bought a Kiwi ink. So I need to add that here. And then I think I got it all. And that means I can add it all up. But if we just go over this really quickly. So this is 640 for the first 2 plus 70. 660 plus 70 is 730 plus 35 is 765, 85, 805 plus 175 is 9. No, I can't do math. 980 plus 20 is 1,000. So if we're here and then, oh, Matthew Chen, see, Matthew Chen, I spent 110. Pactagon. So let's just roughly say that that was about 1,500, maybe 1,300. I will put the actual number up here. I think it's important to remember that everything costs money. And you need to plan accordingly. I did not spend my whole budget here. I saved up quite a lot. I still haven't purchased a new Apple Watch. I want to exchange the battery of my iPhone. So there is some money that I want to buy. Maybe I'm going to buy a new printer. So I made sure I didn't deplete my whole budget. I was aiming for about 1,000. But I also did not hold back, as you can see. However, I did 100% find myself walking the show floor with the thought that, what could I buy? And when I noticed that, I made sure to not purchase. There were so many things that I saw that I would have loved to purchase, but that I did not buy. Because I did not want to stretch my budget more. I wanted to spend the budget on things that I really wanted and not things that I just purchased because I could. Yeah. So I find this always so devastating. I did not buy 100 million pens. I was gifted some things because I wouldn't have been able to bring home so many things if, I mean, I would have, but I think I would have been disappointed if I had exceeded, if I had gotten closer to the 2000 mark. And also remember that I went in my camper van. I did not spend anything on lodging, which was amazing to do. So that big part, a big chunk of money that you need to set aside for lodging if you're not local. And even if you're local and you're too far away, then you still need to pay for lodging and food. I brought food so I would be able to at least have lunch or dinner and breakfast made with my own stuff. I would need to also include the provisions that I purchased. I need to account for gas. I filled my tank up once. So pen shows aren't cheap. And even if you're not buying a lot, it's still not cheap. I just wanted to mention this because it always, yes, I think it's an awesome opportunity to meet a lot of friends, and I loved that aspect of the show. But it's also really, really hard to not get tempted to buy anything. Or if you have a small budget, make sure that you know how you can maybe do the treasure hunt for the show ink and take something home from there. A lot time to go from table to table to grab the signatures so that you're able to take home this ink that then would be included in your admissions price. Maybe make sure that you meet friends that you can test their pens so that you don't feel like you're missing out because you're not buying things. The inks. So I was able to get this ink for free. This is Monteverde Chameleon. I really look forward to using this. This is the San Francisco Pen Show exclusive San Francisco Bay by Colorverse. I had expected this ink to look a lot different from the picture. I will include samples of some inks in the giveaway. These two, I will definitely share those. I think I also have a stamp that I can include in this giveaway. This one reminds me of some inks like Shirakashi, maybe, possibly. Tsukushi, no. There is a dark green ink that everyone is raving about. This is what this reminds me of. I will include a Shinkaichi Gold sample. I got this bottle of Brandy Snap as a gift from my friend Maria. I also purchased in the 4 ink bottles deal with Drumgools. I purchased these 4. Walnut, Heimdall by Wearingool, Sailor Nevada, and Shikiori Okuyama. These 2 I already knew I wanted to buy at some point. And then these 2 are new additions. I'm not sure that I expected this ink to look this orange. I thought it was more brown, more like a darker version of this. I'm curious to see how it looks on Tomoe River paper. And then this is this is Okuyama on Cosmo Air Light. This is Nevada on Cosmo Air Light. Then I was able to get this Diamond Wagner, which I really like. Wagner is the actual German pronunciation. I bought a kiwi ink this Harvest Forest. No, Haunted Forest. What the heck? This is a color that I seem to go back and over again, and this is Diamond Walnut. So I think I can cut this video at there. I thought it was going to be shorter, but I can't seem to cut myself short. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out my videos. I loved seeing you at the show. I loved chatting with so many of you. It felt like meeting old friends. And I don't know, I usually think of myself as an introvert, and I depleted earlier every day. So Friday I was able to, I noticed around 6 p.m. that I should go home. Saturday, especially being in classes for 6 hours, I was already done by 3 p.m. Sunday was the worst. I was on the floor for 2.5 hours, and I felt like I could just leave right now. So maybe I'm an extroverted introvert because I had the best conversations with you all. And yeah, I would love to do this more often than just once a year, for sure. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again in another video. I want to move on and swatch all of the inks. And yeah, if you have an idea, do you want me to do specific videos on all of the pens that I picked up in more detail? I would love to know, because I'm really torn. Do I really allocate another video to each of those pens? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to be eligible for the pen show giveaway, I have a Google form down below. Just enter your name and your email address. I will do a random number generator and pick one winner. I'll share a photo of the things that are included pretty soon, and these two will be given away for sure. If you've been at the pen show, maybe don't comment. Let this be for someone who wasn't able to go. Yeah, thank you so much. I will see you again soon. Bye.